So what else happened in Kuwait?
There was a mosque right next door to my apartment, so it was about 30 seconds from my door to the women's entrance. And my absolute favorite part about living in a Muslim country was hearing the adhan 5 times a day.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. And every time that I would hear it, I would run to my window, like run to my window, because you would see just men, brothers, like pouring into the streets, all going to the mosque. Like they would lock up their businesses, they would pull over on the side of the road, you know, if they were driving taxis, and they would just go into the mosque, and it was beautiful.
Did you ever see that video of the taxi cab driver doing prayer on top of his cab in New York City?
Oh, I've seen the picture, yes.
Oh man, that's so cool.
But all of the restaurants served halal food, which was awesome.
Man.
I mean, I could go to Chili's and get
Oh.
steak fajitas, and they were halal.
Oh man.
Incredible.
I went to Olive Garden the other day on a date with my husband, and it was like tripping through a minefield. I was like, oh no, you can't have that. I can't have that. We can't have that. I ended up having like eggplant parmesan.
Hey, alhamdulillah, you can go to Olive Garden, and it was great.
It was great. It was good food.
I could talk about when I started wearing hijab,
Yeah.
if you'd like.
Mhm.
About 3 months after I took my shahada, I knew that it was something that I wanted to do, and I very slowly, prior to this, began wearing, I went from shorts to wearing just capris to wearing long pants.
So again, modesty and increments.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I couldn't have gone from a mini skirt to, ta-da,
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah.
But so because I knew it was something that I really wanted to do, I began making a dua to Allah, and I would say, Allah, please put it into my heart. Please make me want to wear it, and please make it easy for me to wear it.
Yep.
And I used to get up a few minutes before Fajr, which this was before I knew about Tahajjud, you know, about the early morning prayer. And this is when I would make the dua. And I woke up one morning, I was actually visiting my sister in Colorado, and I said, I am ready to wear hijab.
Oh,
And-
so it was while you were on vacation
yeah,
with your
when I was on
sister.
vacation, and she said, are you sure? And I said, yeah. She's like, why don't you go get me a coffee? So I put on my hijab, and I went out, and this is in Colorado Springs, which is uber conservative Christian and
Midwest.
evangelical, like
Yeah.
super mega churches, and I didn't even think about it. I went out, and I walked into the bagel shop, and then I thought, what did I do? Because I really felt, and it could be all in my head, but I actually think it happened, that everyone stopped talking and they all turned and they looked at me. And I kind of like took a deep breath, and I got into line, and the entire time I was thinking, you're not ready, you're not ready, like, Rebecca, why did you do this? You're not ready, you don't have to start wearing it right now. And right at that moment when I was really starting to self-doubt myself, an older man turned around and he said, good morning, and he gave me this beautiful smile.
Oh.
And I said, you know what? No, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, I can do it.
No one's gonna run after you with pitchforks.
But it was an experience driving from Colorado through the Midwest to Connecticut, wearing
there's
hijab,
so much.
where some people probably have never
Yeah.
seen me.
I find it the most difficult is going back home to Pennsylvania. Ooh, that was a nice one. Back home to Pennsylvania, because I live in a very rural area that not really mosques or Muslims, and if you're there, you're like you stick out like a sore thumb. But that's probably like the most difficult for me. But even then, it's never been absolute racism or like discriminatory or anything like that. It's
I think
all in my head.
And I used to do it all the time when I was, you know, just learning about Islam. If I saw a woman wearing a scarf, I would look because I was so excited to see it. Because
I'm
it's
still
not,
that excited.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like if a hijabi drives by me, like I might follow her and be like, hey, assalamu alaikum.
I was coming home from work one day and there was a hijabi at the bus station, and I pulled over, asked her if she wanted to ride. I think she was sort of like, I don't know if I want to get in a car with you because you were. I was too excited. I was way too excited. I was like, she was like, you probably have rabies. This is probably what's going on in her head.
Growing up, there's a mosque about 5 minutes from my home, and I've been in this house for 26 years.
Yeah.
And can you tell I'm 26? And I never knew. I drove by it every single day on my way to high school, and it was, honestly, I feel like there was just a veil in front of my eyes, and I was not aware of, and I was not exposed to Islam. And it was meeting a few really good practicing people
Yeah.
who helped to say, my religion is more important than me going out and drinking and
Yep.
dating and blowing off my prayers, because they would stop in the middle of a staff meeting and say, we need to pray. We'll be right back.
Oh, that's really nice.
And I looked for them in the cafeteria during the month of Ramadan, and I was like, where are they? Like, what
Yeah.
are they doing? And then, I would ask questions, and I actually fasted 2 Ramadans with them.
Before you become
Because
Muslim.
I wanted to experience it. I wanted
Yep.
to see what it was like.
That's what happened last year. I wanted to see what it was like, and
Look
by the
what
end of it, I know. Look what happened. It was interesting. Before I knew Islam, looking back, you can see how much it was put into your life without you knowing it. Like, I spent 2 years prior becoming more modest and more modest and more modest and dressing appropriately, or what I would consider would be appropriately. And it's interesting how that happens. And the second you realize the truth, you're like, oh, that's why. Yeah. It is a veil. That's a perfect description.
And there, in the English translation in the Quran, it talks about how there's a veil over people's eyes and over their hearts.
Mm-hmm.